Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So what you're looking at is the start of my Easter clothesline bunting project. These are the elements I have so far. As you can see, I have the 3 outfits that I found in America. The petticoats I've pinned at the moment underneath the 2 little dresses. Well, one is pantaloons under the yellow dress, and then there was a little petticoat under the green dress. I'm thinking of stitching them into position so they just become part of the piece, but I'm still thinking about that. They're pinned there at the moment. I've got my little wooden Easter decorations. You can see them hanging in between the elements. I've got my 2 Easter eggs pinned onto the sashing, and also see the chicks with the umbrella at the very beginning, and then halfway along I've got the bunnies that were on the push cart, those ones there. So they're all just pinned at the moment. My big wooden clothes pegs hold the clothes beautifully, so really happy that that's worked. This is a piece of printed ephemera from Rachel's packs that I really want to do something with, so he's definitely made it to the piece. Now if you're looking at the cordage, what that is I picked that piece of cord up at the sewing basket, and it's got stitched to the bottom of it some, what do they call that stuff? It's like a webbing, but it would allow that cordage to slip in between 2 seams. Someone has hand stitched that along that edge, and if there was fabric coming up to there, you would just see that it's a trim. There's a name for it. Oh, I've just gone blank. Don't even ask me what time of the morning it is. It's still dark outside. Having said that, the sun's coming up a little bit later now, so when it was once light, it's now dark. So that's probably making me feel like it's worse than it is. But anyway, beside the point. So at the moment, all of my elements are just pinned, and I've just pinned it to the back of the couch here. I need to finish off the end here so it doesn't unravel. I also need to stitch that back on itself to create a loop so that I can attach it to my windows, which is where the piece is going to end up in the end. But at the moment, these are the elements I've got so far. And now that I've got it sort of in position, I can start to think about other things to be made. So that's where we're at. All right, I'll pause the video now and I'll head to my desk because we need to finish off the 2 pieces that are rectangular shaped. I would like to make some more eggs, and we'll see what comes from there. All right, guys. See you later. Okay, I'm back at my desk and ready to go. I have such a pile of stuff here around me. So I hope I've got everything I need. If not, I'll just have to jump up and down and grab what I need. So what I want to do is, well, first of all, I'm creating lots of little tasks so that I can, relax on the couch and do some stitching. So the first thing I've done is I've grabbed my little snail tray. Remember I made this, oh gosh, must be a year ago, maybe even, no, I was still in Brisbane, maybe coming up to 2 years. This is a Tilda snail, and I created him with Tia and Susanna when we were all together, and we've put him into, well, we've all done different things with our snails, but what I've done is I've attached him with some glue to the bottom of this tray, and it's like a workstation. So Mr. Snail sits in here, he holds my pins, and I can just lay in there lots of to-dos on little projects. So I'm thinking it's time to use Snail for my Easter tray. I have my thread still that I took overseas with me. I know I'm missing a purplish ribbon, so I do need to add that to my pile. So at the moment, I'm going to leave my threads in that scenario. I also have my threads that I picked up while in America. So I'm sort of trying to keep everything about my trip so that this bunting are all of the elements that I found while overseas. I'm hoping. There might be some bits and bobs that I need to grab to assist, but Mr. Snail is going to take the projects. First thing I've got to do, when I was washing the little dolls' outfits, this little jacket I noticed is missing a button. So I went to my Tilda buttons and I've got 3 of these buttons left. So that's what I'm going to do with this, is I'm actually going to replace those buttons with the little Tilda buttons. So the first thing I'm going to do is snip them off. This jacket is so thin in places. It is very well loved. When I was giving it a gentle wash, I was quite surprised at, I might leave those threads there. That'll make it easy to tell where these buttons go. No use tidying it up completely. Love to know what type of teddy or dolly or toy this little jacket came from. It would have been a bit special to find the actual doll. The little dresses, I mentioned a second ago that I'm thinking I need a quick unpick. Do I have a quick unpick? Yep. Okay. Gosh, I just looked up at the TV. This this little jacket is really bright for you guys, but it's actually an olive dark moody tone. I've got my overhead lights actually off because it's still dark outside. It's 5:30 or 10 past 5, and it's still dark. I can't believe the difference. In the time that I've been away, the sun rising has just changed dramatically. So it is pitch dark outside, and I think it's about 5:15, be about right. I noticed that when we flew into Brisbane, we got in at 5 o'clock and it was still dark, and we were crossing the Gateway Bridge, and it was probably about 5:45, and the sun was just coming over the horizon in the distance, and we were on the top of the Gateway Bridge. That's a massive bridge, if you don't know, in Brisbane, that connects the south side and the north side of Brisbane over the Brisbane River. And just as we were driving over the peak of it, the sun just popped up. So in the three and a half weeks I was away, the morning time the sun rises has changed dramatically. Just anyway, got sidetracked there. So yeah, I've turned my overhead lights off. Otherwise, you'd have too many shadows, and that looks so green, but it's not. It's more muted. So that'll be my first task. These little buttons will go onto the little jacket. That'll just give it a little pop of colour. I could do mending on it. Like you can see there's a little hole there. But I don't think I will this time. I think I could make future projects out of these little pieces of clothing. At the moment, I'm just going to leave them as they are and work more on the bunting itself. But I do think we need some special buttons on our little jacket. So little jacket in first. That's one task. Now I might pop that to one side. Before I get started too, I just have still sitting on my little ironing board that I use in my craft room. Everything's been washed and ironed. So that's the collars. Aren't they just gorgeous? And thank you to everyone who recognised straight away what the smaller versions of these collars when they were here, sleeves, around your sleeve. And someone also said that often the outfit would wear out but the lace would last, so they would remove them and just attach them to a new dress. So yeah, that's what we all figured out. So thank you to all the girls that said, hey, they're collar elements for the ladies. Oh, they're just beautiful. I don't think I can cut into them. I'll have to come up with a project that keeps these beautiful pieces. Some of these other ones, yeah, I probably could because they're a little bit damaged. So that was the collars. That was that big piece of lace plus the little doily elements, plus the couple I found in Brisbane. Here's Fudgy. He was up watching a video with me while I have my coffee, get myself awake, and then he's crawled back into bed, and now he's out again because he hears me talking to you guys. I think that's what it is. So these are the laces, a little group here of the narrow ones, and then a little bit bigger group here of slightly wider ones. So we'll keep them close at hand. I've got a mate coming over for a cup of coffee, and what's that from? That's not part of this trip. Coming over for a hot cross bun and a cup of coffee later today. She wants to have a look at my treasures. So I sort of want to keep things a little bit organised, but still want to, get started on our project. So I'm going to leave everything on the clothes ironing board for a moment or two. I can always reach down and grab it. So let me pop that down there. All right, that's cleared a lot of space. Now, let's get these two out. Now, we had to find a purple ribbon. Let me grab my container of ribbons. Okay, we needed a purple because I didn't have that with me. So let's get that little job done. It's a real violet. And I'd love to. I do have that I picked up at Gail's Patchwork Emporium. Remember these? Maytime ribbons. I don't know if I want to open that yet. I'd love to do a project just based on that colour palette. No, we're not going to do that. There'd have to be something. Here we go. That'll do the trick. And I think we'll mix threads with it. So a little bit of ribbon, a little bit of thread, just to allow me to play with colours a little bit. If you have a look at the print, see how those little, let's call them violets. I don't know if they're violets. See how there's lots of little tones there with it? I think we'll do like the odd little ribbon stitch, and then in amongst it, we'll put some purple, which I don't have on my table. No, righto fudgy, hop up again. Bear with me, guys, as we plan our project. Grab the purples. Here we go. So we need just a hint of some purples. Oh, I've been cleaning and washing. For me, it is Tuesday. So I'm not sure when you guys are watching this video. I'm just going to get started making my Easter bunting. So I don't know how many videos it'll be. I'm not sure when they'll slide in, but for me it's day 2 having returned, and yesterday I worked like a trooper. I was so motivated to get my house in order, like give it a good, well, not a good clean, just a clean, because I've had a house sitter here, so just wanted to, there was lots of bugs in the house. Davey, our friend who looked after the place, he is an outdoorsy person, so he's coming and going all the time from outside, doing all sorts of chores for Gaz, and yeah, he's just a gem, absolute gem. So the bugs, because of the rain that they had while we were away, the bugs were everywhere. Yeah, so I wanted to vac them all up before I tromped them through the place. So by the time I do that and clean the bathrooms and the washing, oh my goodness, Gaz and his bloomin' suitcase of clothes took me all day, at least 10 loads. And then prior to going to America, I'd made myself a dentist appointment for this week. And they called while I was away and asked me to come in 3 days earlier. Would that be okay? And I was like, yeah, it should be fine. So I've even been to the dentist. I'm going through the process of the meet and greet. They it's like, let's just sit down and have a look at your teeth and see how they are. Welcome to the practice. and I just want to get it clean because I've left Brisbane and haven't had a chance to find a dentist. So I really want to just a clean and make sure there's nothing that needs dealing with. I don't think there is because I don't have any issues. But, so I was in there for half an hour, walked out, and all we did was took a heap of pictures. I achieved nothing. And I said to and she goes, oh, now when you come back, we'll do a clean, and there's one little cavity, but it's not even on me. It's a piece of a filling that's actually broken off. So she just wants to patch it. So maintenance-wise, I'm pretty good. So I said to her, well, when can I get back? Because I really want to clean. And she goes, oh, I'm very busy, so I'm just not sure. You'll have to chat to the girls at the reception. So long story short, we get to the reception and she says, I have an appointment that someone's cancelled for Wednesday. Would you like it? Oh, yep. And I said, well, I need a couple appointments apparently, and then we've got to fix this tooth. And she said, well, the next one is the following week. Is that too soon? I'm like, nope, I'll take it. So I've managed to pull it all off in a week. Misorganised here. Just get in, get it done and move on is my theory. And then later this week, me boobs have got to be squished. You know, that squish, squish, photograph, squish. So that's come up and it's all happening this week. So I just want to get my housework done, tick, get the washing done, tick. I've got appointments to do health-wise that have all fallen in this week, and also the solicitors now want to see us to do with Dad's estate. So there'll be a trip to home to sign paperwork, and to top it all off, we need to go to Brisbane this week as well to deal with a maintenance issue on our store down there. So the workmen or the tradesmen want to meet with Gaz and just make sure all the details are correct. And in amongst all that, someone's broken into the back car park of our building and they've cut a huge hole in the well mesh fence, which is, 8 foot tall. The little sneaky buggers have cut a hole, walked in, and then broken into the building next door, which is a Kennard's hire. So work gear hire, generators, ladders, utilities, all those sorts of things, and stolen a heap of gear via our car park. So we decided that's it. And it's happened a few times. It's just a well mesh fence. So we've got a small insurance payout for the damage, and we're tipping in the extra money to replace that fence with a steel thing, really rigid, like there's not getting through it. That's going to just be the end of all the mischief that's been going on. Kids have been going in there and skating after hours on the concrete. So it's just always been a little issue. So a lot happening in my first week back. Typical. I said to Gaz, I want to go on holidays again, because while I was away, everything just stopped. We had a breather. But no, we're back. It's all on. So anyway, beside the point, I've got my 3 tones, a dark, a light in the lavender and the ribbon. I was just looking at his little jacket, so I don't know if I'll stitch into it, but I bet I do. We could probably do with a little bit of the green as well. Where is some green? This here might do the trick. No, it's going to be too coarse. All right, I need to jump up again. No, I don't. Yes, I do. The box of purple had turquoise in it. So, maybe bring a lot. I need some little green colours. A little 2-tone green would be nice. See, they're all silks. They're no good. I don't mind variegated threads because it's nearly a bit of a cheat if you get a good thread colour. You can jump around on a little jacket like his and, achieve all sorts of stitches in the right spot and colour it in nicely, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to need to have a look through this. It's quite a fresh, there, that one there. Yep, and then we need a light one. Either that one. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. That's that little job prepped. Now, as for what we do around that, we'll leave it for now because I just want to finish the stitching. So let's put the snail away. This little one is finished. So I want to have a little play with it. I felt like when I was away, I didn't have any fabrics to build on my pieces. So now that I have my room back, I grabbed my bits and pieces from the Just Because quilt that was sitting on the table. I thought how easy just to have a rummage through. So let's just grab random handfuls. That blue's jumped out at me. I think that's some of Sarah's fabric. And she sold that pack for the Christmas project. What else is in here? We want brights, don't we? That there might be something. A bit of red. I think that's mistletoe. That's a bit Christmassy. I've got another container. A bit of blue. That's Eastery. Haven't used you. Okay. They're a little bit moody. Oh, some little flowers. Throw them out. These are the little bits I was sort of missing. I couldn't take my pieces that bit further. Probably too moody, those tones. All right, let's see how we go. A bit of orange would be nice. That to me seems like it might work. Okay. I think we need to trim it down. Now, I need to make a decision too. Am I doing bunting that comes down in a peak? Or do it more like just random flags? I sort of like the idea of it just random. Hey, Fudgy. Sorry, just got to pat the cat. I think I'm going to trim that. I always felt like it was a little bit wide. I stitched right up to the edge of the fence line there, so let's just trim that little bit back. So I didn't have decent scissors with me, so that was another. Yes, Fudgy. What's your story? Now, I feel like we need to sit it on something. Contrasting fabric, maybe. Layer it. Don't mind that idea. I still think we could do something there. Maybe some lace. Let's get the narrow bundle. Build up something for the little chicks. Yeah, like that. I don't think I need to use that whole piece of blue. So what we might do is I'll trim, let's pretend I've flipped this over and the blue fabric is getting trimmed through there like that. So I'm just using that little hint. And we'll bring that piece through there just to give us a baseline to it. Now we could do with something through the top here, or are we going to shorten that up? I sort of like that dimension. What if we bring some lace through the top here? What else have we got? Just a little something. That's the same lace. No, I had green lace with me when we were travelling. I'm just looking at my next pile of lace. Is there something, before I cut that, I don't mind you, but are you perfect? Just a little piece of that. And then if we cut that back to the blue, and then just put just a little bit there. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece off. Once it's removed, it's then used. That's my theory. Just got to make that initial cut. Keep it all neat and tidy, Corrine, until my friend comes to look at the treasures. Then it'll be open season. Oh my gosh. No, I sort of feel like I need to balance it a little. Like those scrappy bits, and if that's trimmed there, that would be the little bunting. Keep it simple, don't overdo it. What I want to do is make the stitching the detail with these gorgeous pieces. You know, it's all about the stitching. Don't overpower the little banner with you know, too much frou-frou, as they say. Well, we'll see how we go. But I'm thinking that maybe I do a smaller piece. Let's cut that. Now these pieces I'm going to stitch onto the cordage with that tape. We'll call it cotton tape. I'm going to stitch these pieces on. So once I get some elements made, everything will then be slow stitched on. So there might be a heap of running stitch go through to catch the piece. Now I'm going to be miserly. First of all, trim that little edge off because it's one of those pinking shear edges. And we're just going to have this fabric peeking out. So we don't need to use all of it. Am I going to back all of my little elements? I don't know. At one point I was going to attach the bunting to a mirror that's in my hallway. But my piece of cordage is 2 meters and it just isn't quite the right length. I could extend the cord, but at the moment I don't think I want to. I might just let that sit a little bit past the edges. Was that way or that way? That way. If it went on the mirror, I would definitely need to do something quite tidy on the back because I'll see all the messy. If it goes on the window across the shutter, I don't need to worry about it. And, you know, when I got out of bed this morning, I walked past the couch because I pinned the bunting late yesterday afternoon to the couch, just as somewhere to put it while I work on the project. And I walked past it this morning and I actually liked, do I cut that off? I actually liked the position on the back of the couch. I don't know why. It just looked really cool. I don't know whether it stays there or not. Maybe I'll do it that way. and have it go up the top a little. Because remember, there's the edge. Do I cut it? Just have it peeking. I think I'll cut it again. All right, so that will all be stitched down. We've extended our piece. We've put a pop of colour in there. That's all attached. Yeah. I'll probably stitch around it too to frame the little element. But there's one of them ready to go. So where's the snail? Pop that into there. And while I'm thinking it, let's throw in a cotton for the project. All right. So this little one, little cutie. So it's very neutral. So let's just trim it up. It's going to need to go onto some backing. So I've got a few extra scraps of wadding here. Stitching wise, what would we do with the stitching? I'm seeing little flowers on there. See those little flowers there? Let me bring it up to the camera. I think we'll use a neutral thread, maybe a little bit thicker than the one I just put in the box of tricks. Mr. Snail, let's go to the neutrals and find maybe a crewel. There's a bit of pink in that. Just mind me reaching out. I wonder, see in those clover leaves there, there's a bit of pink. I wonder, do we stitch that in pink? Where can we pinch that out without it's wasting? It's a scraps, not worrying about the wastage. Yeah, I think we use soft pink as the feature. Now backing fabric, let's undo you. We could go really bold. We could bring in a completely different colour. No, we don't need reindeers. Get rid of the reindeers. We've used that, so just keep it to one side in case we want to use it again. Do we do matchy-matchy? I sort of like it. Sort of makes it feel a little bit old world, doesn't it? It's not quite big enough. So how do we get around that? Bring it up, bring you down. Bring you off centre so you become the length I need on the piece. So then we only have this spot to deal with. So do we find a floral element that could Christmas? We don't need Christmas. I can't wait to do a tidy up. Got the Just Because quilt that's still in hiatus. I really don't have much to do and that whole project's finished. Maybe we bring a bit of that in. I don't mind the red and the pink. Let's just pinch this. I feel like we need a little floral something. I wonder if there's an element in Rachel's fabrics that we could add to it. See, that's some bodgy cutting there. So it's just about collaging. I do like that. This would get us the bottom corner sorted. There's a selvage, we could not feature that. So if that was cut, let's come straight to the bottom of the wadding. That's cut, so let's pretend that that's under there. Where was that little scrappy piece of lace we had? That's nice and soft. See, my concern with this one is because the image, let me zoom in a little bit for you, but I don't want to go too close because I'll end up going off screen. Because the image here is so fine, I've got to be a little bit careful with the elements we put on it because I think we'd overpower the image. Okay, let's go back to that pile of narrow lace. I do want to use also this. This was a crocheted piece. Yeah, I do like that. If that went up a fraction, we wouldn't notice that little piece there. I could then, just bear with me guys as I fiddle around. Oh, the sun's coming up. That fits really well. If that was to, yeah, and if this stayed plain up here, maybe some camphor stitching, and then we get heavier as we go to the bottom of the piece. All right, that's the decision made. Is that the right piece? I know if I go looking for something else, it'll get quite thick. I don't mind that. If that was cut there, I think we could handle that. Yep, let's do it. Okay, put that back on the ironing board. We just have that little piece there. It's nice and fine. I like the shape of it too, because the shape of this bottom piece is quite good too. It's like the same sort of feel. Now, I was just looking, see how that naturally wants to curve? I'm going to let it do that. There's a bit of tension there, wanting it to curve. I think that'll help. Is it the right way? Nope. That'll help with the shape being rectangular, and now we've got these curves coming in. So that little red piece there, I'll probably do some camphor stitching on it as well. So when I sit down to stitch, I'll deconstruct it, invisible stitch it all together, you know, the usual routine we go through. Okay, here we go. These here, I might even stitch into them. Could put some beads into them just to give them a little bit of extra life. We'll make it a little bit bigger than I need it. Gives me something to hang on to. We can always trim it back. So that's that little guy. Yeah, that piece in the back I think's good. Stripes. If you're ever in doubt, go the stripes. Let this be the hero. Back it with a bit of plain. That text picks up that blue. We then highlight it with that. There we go. There's a little stitchery for Easter. Pop that in the snail basket. What else? What else? Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Before I go rummaging through Rachel's fabrics again, remember I picked this up in Gail's Patchwork Emporium, Hare's Nest Stitcheries. Now, we did find out that they are no longer going to be doing their business, and Gail purchased their entire inventory of kits. So if you did want to get yourself, look at them, get yourself something, head to Gail's website or send her a message and she can let you know what she's got. I thought maybe there'll be something in here on this printed piece of linen that we could stitch and add. So let's have a little rummage through this. I just want to check. Look at those. This makes a little quilt. Yeah, oh, look at him. He's looking very windswept. So I think we could easily pick a bunny from here. It's good looking through the ones that are stitched. That one there's not bad because I could actually probably cut it and get 2 elements. But we'll see what it looks like printed on the fabric. You're not bad either. I actually went looking for a 3-dimensional, well, not really a rabbit as such, and I was going to use the bunny that I did last year on the panel, how I did a needle turn applique rabbit. I'll grab it and show you. But when I got my pattern out, I wanted to check that it was still available on Etsy. That seller doesn't have the pattern there. So I was like, oh, darn it, because if I go and do it and you guys fall in love with it, you won't be able to get the pattern. So I'm a bit perplexed at what to do there. The other thing is it's quite a big rabbit and I've only got 2 meters of bunting cordage. So I've sort of shelved the idea and I thought this might be another way that I can get a bunny on there. Oh, look at you and you. All right. Let's pop this away now and have a look at the panel itself. So it came with some backing. So we might take advantage of that. Let's have a little look. Okay, well, you guys are too small. You're pretty cute. Oh, there's the 2 that maybe we can cut. Let's get this panel open a bit more. Make a decision. Oh, look at you. You're too big. You guys are too small. You 2 can't be cut because we have this little gorgeous snail in the middle. So that rules out you. The long one, how gorgeous, but for something else. No, too big. Oh. A bunny looking at a bird. That's got potential. And I could make that still small. What else have we got? 2 little bunnies. Oh, there's the big bunny. Oh, he's huge. No, he's too big. You're pretty cute. I like how you're long and narrow, and we wouldn't need to do all of that. And you do look like the Easter Bunny. I think you're a possibility. So I'm going to take you. Everything else looks small. I'm going to take you and probably that other one. Like, it's a bit ambitious. It's a lot of stitching. But you know how it goes once you get started. And I guess if I don't use one of them, or I do use both, I'll have one stitched, which is always handy for future projects because you know how it is, having them stitched ready to go. This little guy here. Got a bit of a mean look about you. Oh, it's the nose is so straight. But I do like that. Imagine that all stitched with little French knots, and oh my goodness, you are adorable. All right, you're coming out. Oh, there's my alarm. All right, I've got someone coming at 7 to pick up a waffle maker. Well, I'll explain it. Anyway, I'm going to pause the video and turn my alarm off. Back in a moment, guys. Okay, I'm back. So the waffle maker story. Okay, years ago when we were setting up all our stores and, you know, spending a lot of lolly building businesses. We built 5 Christmas stores over the last 25 years. I was getting a lot of points accumulating on my credit cards. So I was using those points to get things, and it was usually a Maya voucher or a JB Hi-Fi, and it really did accumulate. Like, we got a laptop, we got a vacuum cleaner, all sorts of things. And I bought a waffle maker. It makes 4 rather large waffles, probably the size of a large piece of toast. And there's the other bunny. Yes, I had cut him out. So yeah, the story goes that waffle maker we've used so much. It's just great for a quick, easy dessert. You make your batter, makes 4 beautiful waffles, perfect every time. Add some fruit and ice cream, and you've got a really fancy dessert. So I became quite famous for my waffles. Well, someone's birthday come up. I think it might have been Dad's 60th, back at my hometown at the farm, and we were trying to work out what would we do for a dessert that was quick and nearly we could put out a banquet of fruit and bits and bobs, and people could, make what they want of their waffles. And Dad was a big fan of his waffles. So that's what happened. I went to my credit card because we had, easy 100 people there. And it was a big spit roast where the meat was turning, and we did just a basic hamburger roll or a hot dog bun with this beautiful meat with gravy. So it was really simple. We could just mass feed everyone. We did campfire, bins of fire around the place, and we just stood around the farm and they just enjoyed their time. Which side goes up? I think this side. Yeah, so anyway, I said to Mum, 4 waffles from my machine is going to take all night. So I had a look at the points, and I said, look, let's use my points to get another waffle maker. And, this is cack-handed, isn't it? Let me pin it. I'm probably using way too much of this backing. But anyway, leave it on there because I'll probably piece some fabric around it. Once I get it stitched, we'll readdress this with some fabric, scrappy bits. So anyway, I decided to get a second waffle maker. So at least we could do 8 at a time. Every 3 minutes we're making 8. And people munched at them all night. It wasn't like we needed them instantly, like a sit-down service. So it worked out perfectly. Shorten up the story a bit. I'm tidying up Mum's kitchen house, and here's the waffle maker, and it didn't get used other than that event. It just went into the cupboard. Because if we ever had waffles, it was when they were with me using my machine. So what I've done is I've put the waffle machine up for sale on Marketplace. Now it has sat there for ages. I think it went up at Christmas. I've renewed the sale so many times. And at the end of the day, I'm now at Burrum, so things are a little slower here. If it was in Brisbane, you've got more people to sell to. So you can imagine it would have probably sold, probably 10 times over. I've just kept renewing it. Dead set, 2 days we're out of the country, and I get a message. Can I buy your waffle machine? I was like, yep, of course you can. So it's been a palaver to organise this person to come and get the machine. In amongst it, they've had to deal directly with my house sitter because, I'm not home. And we've had all this flooding. So they live rural. Like, here's the funny bit. They actually live within 15 minutes of Gamari. So they're at Kilkeven, which for the Queensland people, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they're locals, basically. The flooding hits. They obviously can't get in and out of their property easily when floodwater hits. So they've cancelled about 4 times due to the torrential rain this state has had. And finally today is the day, and I'm now back. So it's taken them 3.5 weeks. The other thing they're doing is they're driving through to Rockhampton. So they've got a 12-hour drive one way to pick up some parts they need for their property. I don't know if it's something tractor-wise or car-wise. I don't know. So the plan was to drop in off the Bruce Highway, which goes straight past where I live, or the area I live, on their way through to Rockhampton to pick up these car parts. So they're coming at 7 o'clock. And I was concerned that I would sleep in, which would be a blessing, but hasn't happened like usual. And I would be, caught unawares. So I set my timer for 6 to wake me just in case I was having a nice leisurely nap. But I'm not. I'm here with you guys, stitching bunnies. It's always the way. All right, what have I got? I have prepped them ready to be stitched. So great little project. I'll tack all that down to get rid of those pesky pins. I'll have a look at what they recommend. Their work is very fine. So I suspect everything is one thread. And I'll probably go for charcoals, neutrals. Yeah, I use one thread. So it'll keep him very fine, which is good, because when I look back at these bunnies, I think they'll work beautifully together. Okay. So we've now got some bunnies to stitch. Let's pop them in the to-do basket. Oh my goodness, guys. We've got bunnies to stitch. We've got another panel. We've finished this panel. We're still decorating this panel yet to add fabric. We need an Easter egg. Now, there was a piece of Rachel's fabrics left. This. I want to do something with this, and I want to make a big egg and have that as like the feature across it. Put this fabric here as my background. No, too washed out. What about a lacy background? Hang on, hold the phone. I need more of this. I need to pause the video. Oh no, here's a piece. Here's a piece. Is that big enough? Ooh, just. So, what I'm thinking, what am I thinking? Let's get our egg shape. You know when you get these gorgeous candy Easter eggs? Oh, thanks to there were 2 of you that said in one of the videos, remember I picked up in the antique shop a candy Easter egg wrapped in cling wrap, and I turned it over and I could see into the bottom, and the little chicks were in there. Panorama candy Easter eggs. Now, I grew up on candy Easter eggs too. They were a family favourite, and a lot of the time it was because they lasted. You know, the chocolate Easter eggs, we had them too, but they just went so quick. Gosh, this is a big egg. Maybe it's too big. So candy eggs became a bit of a thing because we could break them up, and we all had a bottle, and all the bits, once you smash your egg, it was great. Smash the egg, put all the bits in a glass bottle, and that was your supply of candy eggs. And being on a farm, you could grab a little piece, pop it in your pocket, and grab a little piece and pop it in your cheek. So there's always 2 little pieces. And away you'd go down the farm to help Dad and Mum, and you'd have your candy egg you know, to chew on. They just seem to be better value, so I can understand why Mum and Dad... Is that egg too big? Let me go up a bit. I do like it. It's very grand. Is it too big? I love this. I really want to stitch it. I'm just thinking. Maybe I go to the bunting. Should I pause the video again? I think I'll go to the bunting. The other thing I've got sitting at the end of my desk from when I went away is the scrappy bits of fabric that I picked up in Sydney when I went to the Cruel Goblin. Oh, you know what Gaz announced last night? And he says, is it okay? Are you interested in going? I'm like, yeah. This is what he announced. The Back to the Future musical is coming to Sydney in September this year. And he goes, oh, I wouldn't mind going to Sydney and seeing that. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Book it, make it happen, you know, instead of me doing it. Book it, make it happen, I said. So he's off pondering the idea. And you know what popped straight into my head? Cruel Goblin, sewing basket, and all of the above. So look out, Sydney. I might be coming to Sydney again. And my head was spinning. I was like, ooh. But Gaz is like, oh, you know, it'll be such a long way to go for a show. You know, I'm like, no, it'll be right. So I need to get on the website and see if there's some weekday concerts. And we slip down through the week. Why? Because of the business hours for all of the stores. Yeah. So naughty girl. He was unaware of the thoughts that were bolting through my head. I'm thinking a neutral fabric out of my French antiques. And then I cover the background with some lace, and I'll grab the lace off the ironing board. Oh, look at all, oh gosh, I need to, just inspires me to go and start another project. What about we use that as our background? We then put that in as the embroidery, and I'm just going to grab this lace. And I trim the back of the egg with that. Maybe bring it down a bit so it's a little bit softer. And then I embroider this just to go across the band. So the egg is cut out. We see those flowers. And it comes down and around the bottom of the egg. So it needs to come right down there. So there's my line. Let me just bring it up. Something along those lines is what I'm thinking. Now, probably don't need to waste the lace in behind. So I think I could collage the lace after the band is stitched. So that'll also make it easier, because if I start dragging ribbon through those flowers, it's just more tension to bring beautiful ribbons through. So I think between fussy cutting out elements of this and collage the cream lace through it is what I'm going to do with that. But first of all, I need to stitch. Let me just fold that back up, get it back on the ironing board. Okay. The next thing I've got to do is decide how big this egg is going to look on that bunting. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to race to the couch. I'm going to hold this up and see if this is just too big. Because if it is, and nothing's ever too big, you need a big You need a big egg. What if I was to put the bunny stitched on there? Hang on. Hold the phone, guys. They could go on an egg. What if you went on there? No. Nope. Sorry, forget that. Let's see if this is too big, because this is what's going to set the project off on its tangent, so to speak. All right, back and back. Nope, it's not too big. You just knew I was going to say that. It looks great. And even when I held it up, it's the full length that this piece is cut. And that looked even bigger. And by the time I trim it down, it's great. You know why it works is the doll's clothes is large. So it sort of holds its own because we've got those big elements already. If anything, the Easter eggs that I've already made look too small. The other thing is those little Easter eggs could be attached to this, so it could become a bigger element in its own right. So anyway, my phone's just buzzed. I wonder if that's the people coming for the waffle maker. We haven't had any rain, so I'm guessing they're going to get out of their property. I'm just going to pin this. Well, that might do for projects. I'd be pretty confident I've got enough threads in my little basket there already to meet the requirements of this piece. Yeah, I've got some pinks, got a little bit of turquoise, and I've already got some purple here. Those yellows I might just stitch and use, you know, something bright, fresh in there. So that's the plan with this piece. Get that stitched, cut it out, collage fabrics of lace nature over it to make a very neutral background with this gorgeous embroidery right through the belly of it. Do I add other bits and pieces? Maybe, who knows? We'll see. All right, guys, and it just fits. Just fits. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that because I have a feeling my waffle collection person is on their way. That is plenty of work to do for the next few days. So, yeah, I guess the next video for my Easter project will probably be next week, getting a little bit closer to Easter itself. Okay. I'm looking at Rachel's fabrics here. I just can't help myself. Let me check the phone. Back in a minute. I'm back. Yes, it was the waffle pickup people. They have GPS'd my location and 7 o'clock on the dot. They will be here. Before I go, I just want to have a look through a couple things I threw on my desk as well. I really want to do one of these bunnies as well, but I might save it for the next video. Oh, I had a look at Pottery Barn. Lo and behold, there's a Pottery Barn in Brisbane. I did not know. I have a feeling I did know, but when I thought of that name, I thought it was Potts and just never explored it. Plus, it's in the centre of Brisbane in Fortitude Valley. I never, ever go there unless it's an appointment for something. We pass through the area, but it mustn't be on a road that I use to go through. Say you go into a hospital or the Royal Brisbane Show, you know, you pass through those suburbs, but you never really go off that same road. You cross over the Story Bridge and zoom, you're through town. So I've been on their website this morning just to have a little look around, and I didn't see a lot of Easter things that I saw in America. So it's definitely a limited range, unless not everything's on their website, possibly. I don't know when I'll ever get there, but yes, there is a Pottery Barn in Brisbane. What did I say to someone in the comments? 35 years in Brisbane. I didn't even know it was there, but I think I did and actually dismissed it as not worth hunting out because of the name. But having seen it in America and I get chance, hang on a sec, I definitely would look it out. Anyway, beside the point, I've now been educated. There is a pottery barn. This little guy needs to be a future project, but I'm not today. We need to finish what we chewed off. I've also got my doilies all laundered that I picked up in America. Would love to do something doily-ish, but boy, my those marks didn't come out either. My bunting is getting smaller and smaller as I make these pieces, so I'm just going to put them to one side. Let's put all this fabric back into the box beside me before it gets mixed up in the abyss that is this desk. That goes there, that goes there. I've got plenty of Rachel scraps. Most of them are fairly neutral now, so I think they'll join. I might leave you out because I feel like you could be stitched. Most of them are neutral. I could write Happy Easter on that. I might leave that out. There is a little lammy, a little bunny on there. I might just separate them, and a little lamb. He doesn't jump out at me, but I might just leave him for a moment. I think these pieces will join my just scraps of Rachel pieces. Now let's just have another look through, see what else we've got here that's got potential. I've already got chicks under an umbrella. I think I've got the bunnies covered. I wouldn't mind just some stitched elements. That's pretty. Maybe oh, she's cute. A little girl looking at Easter eggs. She is cute. Easter greetings. Sort of the little dress. So I can stitch all that. I think that's a definite. Let's put that on the pile to do in the next video. They're cute. It's only small. Our Lord has risen. I'd like to add that somewhere to my pieces. So I might leave that piece out as a potential morsel that I can take out of there. And I might leave those. Be nice to have some bits that I can revisit next year. Maybe I'll make a second bunting. I don't know. I've got 2 windows. I don't know. Let's just not think too far ahead, Corrine. Finish what you've got. So I'm going to put that away for now. I've also got some ephemera here. I think I need to think about that because they're little bits to add and decorate with. Look at the rooster. I was watching a video of Rachel's where she's making her Easter envelope journals, and that rooster went onto a tag. And then this morning's video, she was filling that pocket tag. It was a pocket with bits and pieces, and that rooster was back there. He is my favourite. He is just gorgeous. What have we got here? I think all these are too small of a scale for my project. Maybe a future project. I also have this that I took to America. No, didn't I find it there? Yeah, found it there. So I wouldn't mind bringing that onto my bunting, but we'll see. All right, I think that's where we're going to leave it. We've got some future projects. We've got plenty of bits and pieces floating around that potentially could be done if I'm looking for a little homework to do. Hang on, there's more here. What are these fabrics? There's a dove, and that looks quite neutral. Okay, All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to put this selection of fabrics away for a rainy day because we've sorted through and there's nothing. See that there too, I've been dragging around as a potential stitch. I might keep that out. All right, I feel a little better that things are organised. All right, done. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. That gives me some stitching to do over the next few days, plus a piece of ceramics to go on a still life, plus just because quilt, plus the flowers in the vase of the still life that still aren't finished. The fruit is sitting on it. They look great. So, yeah. Oh, the bunny. Let me show you the bunny. Hang on. Hold the phone. This piece we did last year for Easter. It was an Easter panel. And this rabbit here, I thought about doing him again, but he's way too big. I'd have to shrink him down. This little guy was a pattern that you created the toy, like it was, you know, stitched and stuffed, and it stood on a stand and he was like a running rabbit through, you know, foliage, but it was like a piece, like an ornament is what I'm trying to say, where I just made him flat and popped him on this piece, and then this piece just evolved into a pocket full of flowers. So let me zoom up a little bit. What I'll do is I'll link this series below, and if it's something that catches your eye, maybe you want to have a play with it. But it was Primitive Rabbit is his name. The link to the lady's shop is in those videos, but it doesn't go anywhere, so I don't know. It didn't say she was on holidays, it just says no longer available. So I'm not sure what to recommend there, but he became a feature on the bottom of this tea towel. I then started collaging fabrics and lace, and I did really whimsical stitching. And then lace across the bottom to sort of ground it. Then I had this piece here that had a piece of hemp stitch to the front, a linen stitch to the front of hemp, and it sort of felt like a bit of a pocket. So I left it as a pocket. This was a piece I inherited in a garage sale that my friend went to, who picked up a heap of craft quilters bits and pieces, and this block was there. That also set me off on this colour palette. The square and that was another thing I wanted to make for the bunting, is a mini quilt. There you go. There's another video. Make a little log cabin quilt for the clothesline. Don't forget to remind me. But anyway, out of the pocket came stems, and on those stems, which I couched down the twine, I made flowers inspired by Yoko Sakito and her books, where she needle turns all of her elements and then stitches into it. So that was the inspiration for the books. Those links for those books are all in the video series. I'll just put the playlist on this one. I then backfilled it with elements from crocheted pieces just to sort of mix it up. That little butterfly I made and stitched on. I had this beautiful tray cloth here with the cherubs. This is an old vintage French piece, so that found a home there. There's my quilted little bird. So a classic quilt pattern, but I slow stitched it, cut them all out individually and added that to, that'd be another element that could go on the bunting, is make one of these little birds on a little panel and add it. Oh, add that. There's another video. Oh, goodness sakes. All right, guys. So that playlist will be also there. I don't know. Maybe you can create your own bunny. He was on tea-dyed calico, needle turned, stitched down with a running stitch, and then I went all over him with just little sprigs, Jennifer Clouston inspired sprigs of embroidery. That is not on the pattern. that was my own thing, and yeah, just embellished him. He'd be great on bunting, a bunny, especially a running bunny. He's good because he's got a bit of motion. I did try and draw bunnies while I was in America, you know, that classic outline, very simple, little bit on the boring side, I think. Sort of been there, done that. I like this guy because he had movement. These legs you can position, so you can really make him stand and do all sorts of things. It's, yeah. Anyway, something for you to have a think about. All right, guys. I think that's it. I shall leave you alone and grab my snail, find a comfy chair and a good movie, and I've got plenty to do. All right, guys. Look after yourselves. Bye.